Hi there, I'm Crystal Gazer and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'll be making videos on Guild Wars 2 with emphasis on PvE gameplay. If you like this video and want to see more content like it, don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you want to be notified of future videos, hit the little bell icon and turn on notifications on mobile devices. This video is the first in a series that I've got planned that will hopefully give you enough information to be able to play Guild Wars 2 the way you enjoy. The one thing I'd like you to keep in mind when watching any of my videos is that Guild Wars 2 is a game first and foremost, so it's supposed to be fun. If there's anything I suggest that doesn't work for you, that's fine. Go have a chat in the comments, have a chat in game, do stuff differently, it's all good. If you're not having fun, you won't keep playing, and that goes completely against what this channel's about. I have made the assumption that you know a little bit about Guild Wars 2 given that you found this video, and I really don't want to be patronising, so I will be using some terminology and jargon. So let's jump right in. As you're probably already aware, Guild Wars 2 is an MMORPG with 3 game modes: PvE, PvP and World v World. PvE is the main game mode that I'll likely focus on because it's where you start and where I spend the bulk of my time. It tells the story of our heroes and the world in general through a combination of the open world, various types of dynamic and timed events, story, world bosses, dungeons, fractals, strikes, dragon missions and raids. You can travel around the maps by waypoints, Asura gates, and if you have the expansions, gliders and mounts. Waypoints do cost a little bit of in-game money, but Asura gates are free. So the PvE story is split into sections: personal story, where the game started and what you have access to as a free or core account holder, and the 3 expansions: Heart of Thorns, Path of Fire and End of Dragons. Between these are the Living World seasons, and at the time of recording, Season 1 was not replayable. The devs wanted a dynamic world permanently altered by player actions and decisions, so they made Season 1 to reflect this. However, it became quickly apparent this wouldn't work because subsequent new players and returning players would have massive gaps in their knowledge. There's been various attempts to fill these gaps, some more successful than others, and thankfully ANET have recently announced the release of Season 1 in a replayable format. The Living World seasons are linked to a specific story section and are free if you both own that section and are logged in while the episode is active. Depending on the release schedule, an episode is usually active for 1 to 2 months. One of the great things about PvP in Guild Wars 2 is that you can jump into it straight away because you're put to the PvE max level, the gear is standardised, and you have access to everything you need with no extra real world or in-game cost. The only restriction is in terms of ranked. PvP has a separate levelling system to PvE, with ranked opening once you're level 20. PvP has a couple of different styles, but the one that seems to be played most is Conquest, which is your typical team brawl arena with specific map mechanics. As with the rest of the game, when you reach 0 hit points, the downed mechanic kicks in, giving you and your teammates time to get you back up through healing or defeat of an enemy. World v World is PvPvE with 3 servers pitted against each other. There are forts, towers, camps, scout points and shrines to capture and hold. Large targets tend to be taken by the Zerg, which is a large group of players, usually around 50 people. Medium targets tend to be taken by skirmish groups, which is a smaller group of players, under 15 people normally. And small targets tend to be taken by really small skirmish groups, so around 5 players, and scouts, which are solo players. These groups are often quite fluid, particularly skirmish groups, often consisting of friends or multiple solo players joining forces to take one target and then splitting off again. The other thing scouts will do is call out enemy positions on the map, particularly if they come across a group attacking a key area. When you log into the game for the first time, you'll be asked to pick a world. To do this, you'll need to know a little bit about mega servers and servers, and I might as well include shards in this bit. There are 3 mega servers: Europe, North America and China. If you can see Europe or North America, then you won't be able to see China and vice versa. For the most part, if you're on the same mega server as your friends, you'll be able to play together. The only place this isn't true is World v World. Each of the mega servers is then split into smaller servers called worlds. As I say, the only place this is really important is World v World, and that's because it's server against server. You can pay to move mega server or server at any time, but as I say, it does cost, and the more times you switch, the more it costs. So shards are the instance of each map. Each instance has both a soft and a hard cap. Once the soft cap's reached, only people joining a party or squad can enter the instance, but once the hard cap's reached, no one can enter it. If there are few enough people in the instance, a timer will start for it to close. So say there's been a big timed event like a world boss, where loads of people are trying to enter the same map. There'll be multiple instances open. When the event ends and people head off to do things on other maps, the instances start closing. When the timer starts, you'll get a notification pop up and you can click yes to move early and you'll get a small buff as a thank you. I am going to cover character creation in the next video, but I thought I'd give a bit of an overview of the races and professions here. So there are 5 playable races: Char, Human, Norn, Asura and Sylvari. The Char are anthropomorphic big cats who live in a militaristic society with steampunk architecture. The Humans occupy 3 main regions of Tyria: Kryta in the continent of Tyria, Ilona in the Crystal Desert, and Cantha. Each has a different aesthetic and social structure, though all seem to operate some form of class-based system. Norns essentially look like oversized humans, but their society and culture seem to be based quite heavily on Viking legends and Norse mythology. The Asura are goblin-esque in appearance and value academic achievement and intellect above all else. Their understanding of Magitech put them as the foremost experts in science on the continent of Tyria. They are arrogant and sarcastic and hilarious to both listen to and play. Our final race is the Sylvari. They are the youngest of the playable races, with the first generation only appearing 25 years before the start of the game. They are sentient plants with traditional elven features, and they are grown, not born, as are all the things that they use and even their animals. Before I jump into a brief overview of the classes, I want to explain a little bit about the Holy Trinity. So, some people say it firmly exists in Guild Wars 2, some people say it doesn't exist at all. I think it does exist. It's just more flexible than in most games. So the party still needs a good synergy, but there's more freedom for you to decide how that synergy is achieved. There are 9 professions or classes in the game. If you have a free or core account, you won't have access to Revenant because it was released with Heart of Thorns. The 3 armour classes, Heavy, Medium and Light, each have 3 different professions in them. The first of our heavy armour classes is Warrior. It's often seen as a smack it till it's dead type of class, but it does have the skills and the nuance to be able to play an offensive support role too. Guardian is essentially the traditional RPG paladin of the game. They use holy magic and weaponry to smite their enemies and help their allies. For those of you who have played Guild Wars 1, Revenant appears to be a bit of a nod towards the Ritualist Warrior. They channel spirits from the mist, which is Guild Wars' afterlife, to enhance their abilities and enable them to help their allies and destroy their enemy. Right, moving on to the medium armour classes. Engineer is the first of our 2 classes that cannot weapon swap during combat. This is because they have access to toolkits that replace weapon skills, so they can constantly switch between the toolkits and the weapons. Agile and stealthy, thieves can steal skills from their enemy to use against them later, hide their party to sneak past people, and have some devastating attacks. Our final medium armour class is Ranger. They use magic, traps, skills and pets to help their allies and to destroy their enemies. This is an incredibly versatile class. The more people I've spoken to who main Ranger, the more I've come to the understanding that they need to be the least specialised of all the classes. In fact, the more you specialise this one, the less effective you'll probably find it. Necromancer is the first of our light armour classes. These scary individuals raise creatures from the dead and can inflict huge amounts of conditions on their enemies and then stand back and just watch them die from a distance if they so choose. Elementalist is the second class that cannot weapon swap during combat. They're essentially your traditional elemental sorcerer, and the reason they can't weapon swap is because they can change attunements, and each attunement has a different set of weapon skills. Finally, we come to my favourite class, the Mesmer. They use illusion magic and deception to control the field, buff their allies and destroy their enemies. They can teleport and use portals to move their allies around the map. They can warp time. The list goes on. They are highly versatile, but where the Ranger needs versatility in the character build, the Mesmer needs specialization. There's just several different things you could choose to specialize in. Right, that was quite a lot of information for you to absorb, so I think we'll leave it there for today. Next week, we'll be looking at character creation and entering the world of Tyria. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.